Good afternoon, folks. Brian here, Geomagnetic Earthwatch on Saturday, January 28, 2023 on our planet. So I'll follow up to a comment on one of my YouTube videos. Someone asked if I had a specific video on things to look out for when relocating. So I'll do that video right now. For me, it doesn't take all that much time to put one together because it's always on the top of my mind. First and absolute foremost, obviously get out of the cities, but first stay off the coastlines. And I'm not talking about doomsday flood maps necessarily. And again, it could be, if you're on the west coast where I was, Cascadia subduction zone, megathrust earthquake, asteroid impact into the ocean, etc. So first, you want to be far enough inland. For me, I'm about a 4-hour drive inland from the coast of Vancouver in the Okanagan. Second, elevation. And you know what? We don't know how high a wall of water could be or is going to be coming in. Okay, we don't know. Me, I put my number elevation at 1,500 feet. I am specifically 1,547 feet. Now, a tidal wave tsunami from a megathrust earthquake, Cascadia, is not going to reach that high, but an asteroid impact, who knows? So John Moore, his video, he states around 600 feet is sort of borderline. Other people might say 1,000 feet. Me personally, I put my number up 1,500 feet. Second, regardless of elevation, don't be stuck in between two mountain ranges. Okay, flooding down there in the bottom. A couple of years ago, a district in my area called Merritt, entire little city was flooded out from atmospheric river as well as other areas. So another thing to take in consideration is you want to be next to a source of fresh water, preferably, if possible, glacial fed rivers for fresh circulation. Now, a lake would be fine for fish, food, but you want to have a river very close by so you have a fresh source of water. It may be for bathing, washing clothes, picking up buckets of water to take it back to your little homestead, whatever. So obviously well, which is going to run out. 2, river. 3, rainwater catchment system. And it could be something as simple as setting up a tarp between 2 trees, right, funneling down into a barrel or other containment device. Another thing is you want to have a south exposure for sun for growing food, which is going to be problematic, and I'll get into that a little bit later. Next, let's assume we're not going to have power, and we're not going to have power for a long time. And again, it could be that X-class solar flare taking out the grid. It can happen in 5 minutes, it can happen in 1 year, it can happen in 5 years. Prepare for not having power. So one thing that came to my mind this morning is, well, first of all, you're going to need a hell of a lot of wood, seasoned dry wood, to burn for heat, for heating water, for cooking, a lot. People underestimate how much wood they're going to need. So if you can find an area close to a wood mill, even an abandoned closed wood mill, you're going to have lots of wood scattered all over the place. You don't have to go chopping down trees and dragging them to your homestead. Think about an old abandoned wood mills. Next, if you're thinking about a small community, look for one that has a retired doctor and a retired dentist. Become friends with these people in case you need them. Aside from that, take first aid courses. Get your kids to take first aid courses. If you get hurt, you may be dependent on your kids to take care of you. Broken bone, lacerations, sprain, whatever. Let's see what else. Stay away from any transport arteries, highways, rail lines. If people are fleeing the cities, they will tend to follow a route such as a highway or a rail line, thinking, well, that's going to lead them to safety. As much as you may want to help your fellow man, you're going to have enough on your plate taking care of your family and maybe other extended family that will find their way to you. You don't want hordes of people finding you, because that limited food and water and heat supply you're going to have is going to be gone like that. You're going through a complete total change from all the comforts that you have here. We can all go to our separate rooms and turn on the heaters. We're all nice and warm, but under a worst case scenario, you're going to change your living habits. At nighttime, sleep together in the same room to conserve your heat source and to use your bodily heat. When I was in the Air Cadets and we went on bush survival exercises, one time we took a parachute with us and we made a para-teepee. That is a teepee made from a parachute, minus 40 below outside. We all huddled inside. We were all nice and warm. Which brings me to the next point. Tour around indigenous or native Indian areas and explore their cultures and see how they lived, for example, in teepees. See how they did it. See how they've been doing it for thousands of years. Next. So going through the past winter, our winter right now, it's going to be very, very difficult to grow your food. If we get into a grand solar minimum, with prolonged increased cloud cover and atmospheric compression, keeping those clouds down for an extended period of times. In the past 3 months, we've had maybe 2 or 3 days of sun. That's it. If you don't have enough sun, at least 6 hours a day, and if you have no electricity for artificial lighting, you're not going to be able to grow food. Your optimal time is going to be 2 to 3 months, and that's it. So now we get into preserving and storing your food. How are you going to do it with electricity? How are you going to do it without electricity? Start accumulating your supplies now. And a lot of them, you can find them cheap at a dollar store. If you have 10 of these packs, multiple packs, and you think that's enough, no, it's not enough. As long as these are cheap, keep on buying them. Matches. $1.25 a pack. Candles. Don't buy thousands of candles first. Try these. Make sure they're actually going to work. How long are they going to last? The package might say 4 hours, but maybe they only last 1 hour. Store propane. Propane in a cylinder lasts for many, many years. Now, 20-pound bottles, yes, that's fine, but you know what? I keep lots of these. They store for many years, and they still work. Now, obviously, you want your little Coleman camp stove to go along with it, and a spare burners. right? Spare parts for your camp stove. This is no good unless your camp stove works. Next, if you have water and it contained water, you don't want to be wasting it. So I start, again, while they're out there and they're cheap, all your paper dishes, right? So you're not wasting water washing them. Get paper, not styrofoam, because you can burn these safely. Same thing with paper cups. Walmart, cheap. Wife thinks I'm nuts, but I ain't washing dishes with water we hardly won't have. So these are some of the things that you can start accumulating now, especially your waterproof matches. Okay. So get off the coast, well off the coast. Elevation, me personally, 1,500 feet. Don't be stuck in between two mountain ranges. Pick a south exposure for sunlight, for growing food. If you're in a small community, look for one of the retired doctor, retired dentist. Other things like beekeepers for honey. Water, well, river, rainwater. And again, these are some things off the top of my head. I wrote down a quick few notes. Stay off of main traffic arteries, because when people start fleeing the cities, they won't get all that far. They'll get as far as their gas in their car or their electric vehicle. Now, this is not just for talking about pole shift. Just before and during, there's going to be a lot of earthquakes going off, a lot of volcanoes popping off. Volcanoes, when you pick an area, make sure you're not at a volcanic area. You're prepping for catastrophic earthquakes and volcanoes going off. These things would take out your infrastructure, like your power, your roads, your bridges, your highways, gas lines. Another reason to get the hell out of the cities. It's sad that so many people are going to be suffering, but you can only help so many people. You got to help you and your family first. And if you have 3 people in your family and you have 3 more in the city, if they can figure out how to get to you, well, whatever you have stocked up is only going to last half as long as you thought. So think about storing a lot more food for long-term survival. Whatever you have now, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months of food, that's only a stop gap to get you through to a point where you're now growing enough food and preserving enough food for yourself and your family. So those emergency supplies, not just food, but water, your toiletries, your oral care. Toothpaste can store a long time. And when you run out, what can you use to make your own toothpaste? Soaps store a long time. Cheap stuff, right? Your paper plates, cheap. Matches, cheap. Your food wrap, plastic wrap, tinfoil, cheap. Dollar store, cheap. Buy lots, store lots. First aid supplies, especially first aid supplies. Bandages, roller gauze, sterile gauze, ointments. Learn first aid. So this is just a short introduction on what you should do to prepare and what you need to consider in a new location. And again, you're not going to a corner store to get what you need. You're not going to a Walmart. You're not turning on a switch to get your light and turning on the valve for your water and turning up a thermostat for your heat. You gotta do all those things by yourself now, or then. So again, things like this is just, these are very, very good. Until you accumulate your firewood, which has to be seasoned. It has to be dried out for 1 or 2 years. You really got to do a lot of planning prep up here. And you got to start your own books, your own notebooks. Start writing everything down. I did about 8 years ago, and my wife doesn't know yet. So even if your family is not on board with you, man, start preparing. Start writing things down. What are you going to need? 16 minutes, I think that's long enough. I'll check in with you later. Have a swell day. Bye.